Here we go. All right, so let's get started. All right, so welcome. Glad you guys are here for our August 2020 Student Ministry Leadership Meeting. First thing we're going to do is we're going to pray because the Lord has to be involved in all of our decisions and all the things that we do. And so we're going to do that. Let's pray. Father, I do thank you so much just for this opportunity to see all of my friends, God, to see them, their smiling faces. And Lord, I pray that this time would just be beneficial for all of us, God, that as we prepare to continue to do your work, God, as we continue to plan to further the gospel, Lord, that you would just use this time to encourage us and help us and lead us and guide us, Lord. So just thank you for all that you do. Be with us now as we have this meeting. We love you. It's in Jesus' name. Amen. Agenda, we're going to talk about attendance and how we plan to return. And so with attendance, just real quick, teachers, if you meet, no matter the method, the thing that I'm asking is that you please continue to mark attendance. Go on, Shelby, if you're struggling with how to do that, if you will just let me or Chrissy know, we will help you however we can. Larry is the mastermind of it as well. But just please, even if you are meeting with your students somewhere else, or even, hey, even if you're reaching out to a student and you make a contact with them, please let us know, just so we can kind of know who's been contacting and who hasn't. It's just good to kind of keep up in the ministry. So that would be good for us to know. And also, if there are guests, let us know. I know that there have been guests in some of the Bible studies over the past couple of months. I also know on the guys' Bible study during the summer, we had a couple of guests a couple of times. And so make sure that you mark those and encourage your students to continue to invite people to your Bible studies. This is where we're at. We are Zooming. We are a Zooming church, and it's actually a fairly comfortable way for some students to be able to Zoom in and be a part of the church. And so just continue to encourage your students to do that. And whenever they do show up, hey, mark it and let us know that they are there. Like I said, keep Chrissy and I updated on, this is important just for future references. I know some of you guys changed day and times when you're meeting with your students because of scheduling and things. If you have changed it and it's no longer Sunday morning at 10 or whenever, if you would just email us real quick, shoot us an email this evening. You can even do it while you're in the meeting right now, but just let us know what day and what time you're meeting, location, so that we can be aware of that, because we want to be able to help if people are coming in and visiting our website. We want to be able to lead and direct them to where they need to be for their students to go. And so just keep us updated. If things change, that would be super beneficial. So the big thing that real quick, does anybody have any questions on any of that? I did want to ask that real quick, because if you do, now's the time. Yes, Miss Chrissy, you can go ahead and mute yourself.
We're talking about attendance. I did promotion today.
Okay.
So when like Suzanne or Todd pull up seniors, it's going to be this year's coming seniors. So if they meet with their college kids one more time or something like this, they'll need to do that a different. I didn't even think about this Sunday taking attendance when I did promotion today.
Cool. So just so everybody's aware, we've already moved the students into the new students coming into your classroom, and so make sure you're aware of that. Reach out to them as well. Just a quick email or a quick text message, call, whatever you feel comfortable doing. But reach out to them this week, especially with school starting. Just kind of put your name out there in front of them, but also let them know, hey, I love you, care about you, want to see how your first week went. Because for some, it's not been great. So just a great pointed opportunity to minister to the students here. So any other questions?
So how would we know who our new ones are?
In Shelby, she's already promoted all the students into your class.
Okay, just go into the regular. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Is everybody aware of how to get into Shelby and into your class? That's where attendance is.
Yeah,
if not,
same place we take attendance.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, sir. So, if not, that is vitally important. Please let us know because I want to make sure that we get that taken care of. And the reason being is because, man, these are the students that God has entrusted us with, and I want to keep up with them. I want to make sure that we stay in contact with them and ministering to them. So that's just vitally important that we know, if they haven't been around in a while, hey, shoot them a text, shoot them an email. Returning in person, like I said, this is the thing that everybody's kind of been waiting for and what we're talking about. And if you paid attention to the announcements last week, you'll know some of the ins and outs of this. This is the first thing I want to kind of talk to you guys about. It's going to remain fluid. The one thing I've learned in ministry, and that every professor has ever told me, and every pastor or anyone that's ever tried to give me advice, is just to remain fluid, to be flexible, because that's the one of the most important things, especially in student ministry. You just never know what's going to happen, and so, but remain flexible and remember that it's a situation that's going to always probably be changing. And so next is that we recognize there is no perfect time to restart. There's not. It's all a guess. We're going to take the best guess that we can and the most prayerful, prayer covered guess that's going to meet the needs of our ministry, of our church, of our students, of our city. And we're going to do the best that we can moving forward. And so we recognize that there's really never going to be a perfect time. But next, we should start when and where we can start. We've got to start somewhere, and that's even now. Make sure that you're staying in contact with your students. Make sure you're inviting them to come to your Sunday school class, wherever and however you're meeting. Just stay in contact with these students. I really want to encourage you. And I'll tell you this: our students, they respond to texts, especially since they're at home and not really in school. I try not to text them during the day. I try to text them, in the evening or early in the morning. But man, they're really good at texting back. Even the ones that you're like, oh man, I haven't really talked to this student before. It could be awkward. It's really not. If they think it's awkward, then they won't text you back. But for the most part, students are pretty resilient when it comes to that. And so make sure that you stay in contact with them. But we're going to start when and where we can, whatever we see and deem as appropriate. And the next thing is we should plan to grow back really and truly a new organizational team. There are so many things that are changing. I know like Tracy and Melva, they've lost a lot of teachers moving forward that say, listen, I can't be a part of a Sunday school class at this moment and not within the next year or two even. Some people are making that decision, and that's okay. We're going to respect that. I want to make sure that they know, once again, they're heard and they're still cared for. And so even here in the student ministry, we've lost some teachers, and so we're going to have to really consider to start trying to find people to jump in the middle of a pandemic and start teaching in Zooms and hopefully in person at some point. But on top of that, our organizational teams are also going to look different. We're going to be talking about what it's going to look like here in a little bit when we talk about coming back on campus. There's going to be a lot of different jobs and things that are needed. And so there's going to be a lot of changes. A lot of things are going to look different. Just the fact that we're going to have to continue with a hybrid organization moving forward with student ministry. There are going to be families and students that are not going to come back this year at all. A handful have already said that they're not, and that's okay. And so we're going to need to make sure that we are doing what we can to minister to those students and putting people in positions of ministry to reach out to them and minister to them. A friend of mine at a church in California, it's a much larger church, but they just hired an online student minister. That's his job, is doing specifically that, which is really cool. They're like, we have no idea how that's all really going to work out. And so they're trying to put together, the best steps of what this person is in charge of, but it's just showing the reality of where we are at, and moving forward, we're going to stay hybrid for a long time, or we're going to still do Zoom with everything, and so it's just going to be really important that we have those people and those teams ready to go, so that we can continue to minister to the best of our abilities. And so we got a plan to grow back a new organizational team. And I don't like to say this, I hate saying this, but if this is a time where you feel like God's leading you to step away, God forbid, I hope not. But if it is, and follow God's leading on that. Who am I to step in the way of that? Please talk to me, let me know about that. But I want to make sure that we have all the people in the right place that are being led to do this ministry, because it's going to be necessary. We're going to need all of you. Honestly, I really think that we're going to need probably about 5 more people on top of what we already have on our leadership team, to try to keep things cranking and going. I think it's going to be important that we do that. And so just keep that in mind as we continue to move forward, that these are all just, it's a part of where we are at. And so like I said, we need a plan to live in a hybrid model for an extended time. This is just the way it's going to be for a while. In fact, I was having a conversation with Todd last week, and we were talking about, even if they were to come up with a cure or a shot that's going to help with that, how many people are not going to take the shot because they don't take shots from the government or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So like, we're going to have people that are not going to do, like, there's just so much that's going to play into the future. And while we may not be able to see that and know that and understand that, God does. He's in control. And so we just got to be flexible and be ready to move forward. So any questions at this moment as we continue? Does this all make sense? I really want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Like, I don't believe that I have all the answers at all. Like, I don't pretend to. I work on a team of ministers that we get together, we talk, we pray, and we figure out what's going to look like the best game plan. But man, that doesn't always mean that it's going to be the one. It's very capable of changing. And so, man, if y'all ever have thoughts or opinions, please know my phone is available. I love to talk. Like, I would not consider it confrontational or you trying to be mean-spirited at all. I want to hear your concerns. I want to hear your opinions, because man, you guys are in a different place in life as well than I am, and so the way you see things are going to be completely different than where I am, and I'm also Bill. Oh, go ahead.
So a couple of things. Is it okay, as far as the church is concerned, if we were to hold outdoor, like gathering, Sunday school kind of gathering things, or try to keep the spacing as best we can?
Sure, that's a great question, and the answer is yes. However, I'm going to try to have. I've already typed up one guideline for this, but with things that have changed since I typed it up about a month and a half ago, I need to go back and read CDC guidelines and make sure that I'm going to stay on top of what they're recommending. But I will say, yeah, if it's outdoors, I say, yeah, go for it. Make sure that you follow the guidelines. I'm going to put one together for the student ministry in particular. It's going to be very, very similar to the one that the church has already got together as well. But man, if you can, do it safely. Make sure that you're following those guidelines and that you're doing everything you can to protect our students and their family members and yourself. And so, yeah, man, go for it.
Well, like when we were out, when we had the one, last Thursday, whatever day it was.
Last Wednesday, yes, sir.
Yeah. So hardly anybody was wearing masks and, all that kind of, and they were sitting side by side and
Sure.
close. And I mean, that's just kids,
Right.
kids, they're huggy, kind of thing.
And I take some responsibility for that. After it was over that night, I went home and kind of hung my head low a little bit, because I think there were some things that I needed to kind of enforce and step in, or at least express my heart and my opinion on that, to at least keep them safe. And so, man, if you can get them to wear masks, please do. Try to keep them 6 feet apart if you can. And once again, they're students, I know it, but do what we can to protect them. And so,
Well, I have a different question. Or
Okay.
if this is, I don't know if we're freestyling at the moment, but
Sure.
are the other teachers, are you having good attendance with your students, either prior to the summer or through the summer? Because we were meeting with the Warrens earlier, and we were combining two classes, and we were getting, there was like 4 Sundays in a row, probably a 0 attendance, and I think we went from a high of 2 attendance of 2 to a low of 1. I mean, to 0, I guess.
Yeah.
So we had 2, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0.
Right.
Our attendance was bad, and we had a big class. We had a class of what regularly would be somewhere in the 12 to 14, 15 people if they were in classrooms. So I don't know how the other teachers fared with their classes. Were they successful?
We had about a high of 11 at one point, all the way down to nothing. It went really well when it was novelty, but as the time wore on, between trying to meet on Zoom and I think just seniors being seniors and things changing and preparing for going to college and all of that, ours just kept trickling down and down, that we would have 2 or 3 maybe. And some Sundays we had none. Some Sundays, David, Suzanne, and I just chatted and said hello, and that was the end of it.
Yeah, same here. It was a novelty in the beginning, and then it was a chore for the kids that wouldn't show up, and then they just stopped coming. So at that point, we just kind of spun it down.
Who here is still? I know some of you guys.
Also send that from both cards and reach out to them and say, "Hey, how you doing?" But it was hard trying to keep a regular meeting going.
I'm thinking that maybe now that, we see this is going to be a long-term, more semi-permanent situation, and the kids are not going to school, maybe the idea of, even if it's still Zoom, the social aspect and idea that, hey, this is it.
Kind of reinvigorate, yeah.
Maybe that'll help get it going.
Yeah, and with new students coming in, it's a great opportunity to kind of rejuvenate that and start it up, and at least see those new faces and try to get it going, and reach out to those parents as well. It's, but yeah.
So we did that. We went to parents trying to play that card.
Sure.
But they started feeling uncomfortable when it's small quantity.
Absolutely.
And it's especially now we super outnumbered them because we had the Warrens, the Homers and myself. So we were like 5 to 1, kind of intimidation. So they were like,
There's
people.
definitely a critical mass factor that if there's enough of them, cool, they can catch up. But in many cases, if it's just 1 or 2 of them, and the one that's there is forced to be there, and he's on it, he's just kind of laying down.
Anyone else?
Yeah, Tim, 8th grade boys, that's a good group. So going into 9th, they're pretty strong. Throughout the summer, they finally got to get out. Some of them with sports, either one-on-one coaching or, other leagues that they were able to be a part of. So those kids dropped out and came as they could. But, like Todd was talking about, I think early on, we had 6, 7, whatever, consistently, but then it dropped a couple, and then bless Ben's heart. Ben was the Lone Ranger for a couple of weeks, and then folks started coming back from any vacations or, family trips that they had. So I think we ended with 5 last week. I didn't think to log their attendance. I need to do that, but. So that's a good group. So going into 9th, man, stay close to those guys, and
You bet.
yeah, they'll encourage you.
They're a fun group of guys. I got to hang out with some of them a little bit this summer, going on bike rides and things if they wanted to get out. I tried to do that. Figured outdoors, and going outdoors and doing things is fun, especially for guys. So
Tim, I tell you what, that meant the world to a lot of those guys. I mean, they couldn't stop talking about it. I go, what'd you guys do this week? Oh, Tim, man, we went hung out on these bike rides, man. It was so dangerous, and whatever.
Oh,
No, we're over exaggerating it, but we had to stop once and walk. And okay, well, that's good, man. Tim wouldn't take it around.
yeah.
We went 5 miles or 10 miles or whatever it was.
I
They loved it, man. It was a big highlight.
It's fun. It was a lot of fun for sure. And so kind of with that idea though, I mean, meet with your students however you can. Try to reach out to them, even if it's in that situation. I'm not saying go buy a bike and start mountain biking with your students or something, but whatever you can, however you can, reach out to those students and minister to them. All right, so let's keep going. All right, restart date. October is now the thing that we're shooting for. It was originally September 6th, but we moved it to October 18th. Why? Because we're listening to you guys, to our volunteers, leadership, some of you guys have reached out to me personally, and I really do greatly appreciate it. I don't know if I can say that enough. I love to hear from you guys. One, I just like to talk to you guys. But two, man, there's wisdom within you that God has given you. Please come talk to me. I want to hear from you. And so we're not going to be able to go that route September 6th. And on top of that, we had been following the school schedule, and we were veering from that. And we thought, okay, let's cut that. Let's pull it to October 18th, which is or 16th. I've got 2 dates now. I don't even know. It shows where my brain was when I was typing this. Whatever that Sunday is. But it's the end of the 16th is the end of the Round Rock ISD quarter, and so it just kind of presents that ultimate kind of cut and divide in order to move forward in that. And so, but I want to listen to you guys. I want to hear from you. And so the new day that we're shooting for is October the 18th. But once again, like I said at the beginning of this meeting, things are fluid. It's very possible for it to change. We could be approaching October and be in an even worse situation than we're in. And guess what? If it is, I'm cutting it. We're going to push it out. We're going to do what we can to protect our students. Yeah, it stinks. Yeah, it's hard to minister online in Zooms, but we're going to do everything we can to keep pushing and moving forward. And man, I need your help. We've got a lot of students on our roster. I couldn't tell you the exact number at this point right now, especially with the new 7th graders that have come in. But man, I can't reach out to them. I try to take one Sunday school class a day or every other day, and just text all of them throughout the day and just try to keep in touch with them. But man, there's more of all of us than just one of me, and so doing whatever we can to reach out to them is going to be important. But we've moved it to October 18th because we feel that that's just going to be the best thing. And on top of that, also for Melvin, for Tracy, like I said, some of their Sunday school teachers have said, hey, listen, I can't do this, and so I'm going to have to step away. And so trying to build back that core leadership and what that's going to look like from a teacher standpoint, and moving forward, it's just it is what it is. I feel like I've said that a million times since about end of February, moving into March, but this is where we're at. So October 18th, the plan is to meet back in person in the Sunday school realm, and what I mean by that, it's not going to be normal Sunday school that we've done in the past. We did the math in all the classrooms, and on average, you can have 5, maybe 7 people max in almost all of the classrooms. There's 2 classrooms that are a little bit bigger than others, but about 5, and that's including a teacher, 5 to 7, and that's difficult. I mean, if we had all those come back, it's going to look different. So that kind of moves into the next point. Our student group option, the concept, and this is just something I've been really tossing around, and I would love to hear from you guys as well. But the idea is to meet with a large group master teacher type of way of approaching it. That style is where there's going to be one teacher who's teaching the main lesson, and then have a teacher or a couple teachers online who are fielding questions and answers with students. And then on top of that, having other teachers in the room to help with crowd control and safety. And then on top of that, and I don't know any other way to do it or any better way to do it, but to have reservations. Our room, if you've been up to the church, which you probably haven't, a few of you might have, but I've got the youth room set up right now exactly to what it's going to look like, and this is it. That is all together in that room, 45 chairs set up. That is what that room can handle. And I had Tyler and Ashley at the end of the summer get a tape measure, and it is exactly 6 feet in radius to other chairs. That is 6 feet at its best in that room, and that's what it looks like right now. And that's just the reality of what it is. And so we can only have 47 if we use the back wall, but that's where we're at, and so we're going to have to do reservations. So will we have 45 that first Sunday? I don't think so, honestly, but I'm hopeful. But we're going to have to take reservations, and I know that's not ideal, and I know that some people will say, well, that's unbiblical, and I get where they're coming from. However, I think that we have to do everything we can to protect our students, and also to help, veer away from frustration for students and parents. And I think that the way we do that is to have reservations. As much as I don't like it at all, I don't, because that means we have to turn students away, we have to turn families away. But to take up reservations, and the way that would work is, we'll have 45 spots at a designated place online where they can sign up, and once that 45 spots are full, it's done. And when students are coming in, we check their name off the list when they come in and they sit down. And if extra people show up, we'll say, hey, would love to have you in here. However, we're doing reservations. If you would like, you can stay an extra 10 minutes. And if one of these students don't show up, you're welcome to have their seat. However, it's for the safety of our students and of you guys as well, as you serve in this capacity. And on top of that, I think at least having the larger room with air movement is going to be a little bit better as well. There's lots of reasons why that starting off with the one teacher aspect is going to be, I believe, to be beneficial. And if you have other ideas or you have other things that you would like to say, I would love to hear. Yeah, go ahead, Kaylee.
Yeah, so is that 45 including the teachers, or is that strictly just 45 students?
It's 45 chairs all together, and so that's going to be, it's everyone all together, because we can't have adults really. I mean, we could have them. There's probably a few spots, like I said, in the back. We could spread them out and put probably, if they're standing against the wall, I could feel comfortable maybe with like putting 3, maybe 5 max. That's really kind of pushing the limit for me, but that's total in the room. And then you've got the stage. Maybe we could put 2 teachers on the corners of the stage if anybody would feel comfortable with that. I would not put anybody up there personally, but if you just felt like you wanted to do that and you wanted to be in the room, sure, kudos to you. But yeah, that's 45 max chairs.
Okay.
So
Tim, is that 7 through 12?
Yes, sir. 7 through 12.
Yeah.
So but that's to be in the class. If a week from now or even tonight you decide, hey Tim, I would like to try to continue meeting with my class, and we're going to meet outside somewhere. We're going to meet at Chick-fil-A. Well, they can't on Sunday. We're going to meet at Popeyes, who has the better chicken sandwich, right? Homer's. And they I know, Winters family, I love you guys, and I love Chick-fil-A. It's the Lord's chicken, and it might sound blasphemous, but I've tasted and I have seen that Popeyes is just really pretty darn good. So, but that's another discussion for another time. However, I will continue to support your kids and eat the Lord's chicken when I can. So, and it's healthier, I think, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, so I don't know where I was going with that. Back to the room setup. But this is kind of the way that we're going to start off, hopefully in October. But if you wanted to meet off campus still, outside with your students, with parents' permission, man, please do. I encourage that. Make sure that you're practicing, like I said, the CDC guidelines. Even meeting as a group, I believe you still have to remain the 6 feet apart, and masks are required as well outdoors, I believe. If I read that right a couple weeks ago, but I could be completely wrong on that too as well. So, but this is the way that we're gonna start back, and so. If you have any concerns or any wisdom or any other options that you'd say, hey Tim, what about this, man? Please go ahead and speak up. Yeah, Chris.
We were just curious if the room is going to be set up for guests. So, like, I know you kind of mentioned, if somebody doesn't show up, you're more than welcome to take a seat. Is there going to be any specifically allocated seats, like 2 or 3, just in case someone does show up? I realize the probability of that is kind of low under current circumstances, but just it seems like that would be a situation where that would look way worse than us telling one of the kids that we know, hey, it's not going to work this week. Why don't you, give us a few minutes or whatever. That was our question.
Yeah, sure. No. No, we're just gonna send them away. We're gonna tell them we hate them. No, I'm just kidding. No. That's not. Once again, that's not something I really have thought about. Where would we sit them? If they're Baptist, we put them in the back, right? I mean, am I wrong on that? I would assume somewhere middle to back would be comfortable for them, but it would also help with distractions because. I'm going to kind of talk about this later, but the entrance, we're going to use one entrance and one exit, and that's going to be through the kitchen area. And so kind of putting them through that, it helps also with coming in late or feeling comfortable sitting in the back or whatever. But that's a great idea, Chris. I really honestly hadn't thought about where we would put them. Do y'all have any other opinions on that? Like if you say, do you think, I don't think we should put them in the front, that's for sure. That'd be horrible, but. Yeah, Brian. I'm struggling hearing you right now.
Is this better?
A little bit.
Try to speak up closer. It's a great idea, I think, to have a couple of chairs reserved for guests. Especially up until we get an overflow where those guest chairs are starting to become in demand, and now we're keeping our members from coming instead of the guests. If we run into that situation, that's a great situation to be in too.
Right.
But having a couple of chairs reserved for guests, I think, is a great thing. We should do that. And then if we need those chairs for other members, then you cross that bridge when you come to it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, that's great, Chrissy. that's good. That's good stuff. I really do appreciate you guys. That's great. That's great wisdom. Yeah, we'll reserve. What do you guys think? Like, go ahead, Todd.
Tim, I don't know what the room is as far as the space, but as I'm looking at the picture on the right,
yes, sir.
If you opened all 4 of those classroom doors and stuck a chair in the middle of the door for all of those, you would gain 4 more seats. They wouldn't have to be visitor seats, but then you could reserve 4 seats for visitors somewhere in the room.
Right.
And seat people naturally that are members and that are coming up at the front and work your way to the back. But then you could still add 4 more seats, I think, to the quantity you have in there, maybe.
Sure. No,
those back rows aren't too close to those, what would be those open doors.
Those open doors are actually a great place to put extra chairs. I would probably put adult leaders in them to some degree, or if it's an extremely mature student that I think could handle being in a door frame or a door just outside. But no, that's great, Todd. I really appreciate that. That's good stuff. Good eye. Chris.
I was just gonna say, as a suggestion, as far as seating people, instead of making it a free-for-all, you might just direct people to say, let's fill up the first 2 rows and then the next 2 rows, and then it's not you're a guest, would you be more comfortable in the back? And then I don't know, I just thought maybe that would help with the distancing, but also help just with order.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's a great way to put it. I mean, that would be probably a job as well right there, is just having someone be an usher and ushering students into a seat. And so, and once again, students are gonna have to understand that we're in the middle of a pandemic, and if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this to the best of our ability and be safe. And I love you guys, but you know, you're gonna have to do follow the guidelines that we place here. And so, Sammy, that's great. I think that's really great.
Tim,
Yes, sir.
how many students were we averaging prior to, you know, it seemed like we were somewhere around 55 to 60.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. 55 to 65 is the general number that we were at, more close to the 55 number. You know, we're Baptists, we like to embellish, right, on the numbers. But to be honest, it's probably around 55 even, average. That's still maybe a little high, but that's where we were at. So, but we were about to hit that point where it kind of takes off a little bit. I don't know if you pay attention to what the Mass does in Sunday school, but there are seasons of drought where students just stop coming to things, and then they show up and then they stop. And yeah, right around there, it kind of comes back a little bit, right at March. But anyway, but yeah, that's where we're at. So it's not outside of the realm of possibility to host a majority of our students. And so, but yeah, anyone else? 5, 4, 3, 2.
Tim, really sorry. Just to clarify, so this would be one classroom meeting basically at the 10 o'clock hour, and then basically 7 to 12.
Yes,
So-
sir.
Okay.
Just because it is in my opinion, it's the best route that we can take to safely have students in the room, and do it to the best of our ability. It would be like a Wednesday night, really, where it's just a big conglomerate. I know it's not as personal, but it's just the way that it's going to be. And so, you know, we'll have there'll be a table up there on the stage that there'll be a laptop with things running to record, and we'll have another adult off to the side with a computer in that chat room, fielding questions and things. And that's the goal. And once again, this is all still in the dreaming stage. It's not concrete. And so, and you know what, if we do get to start in October, I would venture to guess that things are probably going to change even after that first Sunday. There'll be better ideas of how we handle things. So yes, Chris or Sammy, I'm not sure.
I had a question to build off of that. So this room setup is for after October 16th. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay. So my thought with that was, even if you are just doing, or whoever is doing, like the main lesson on Sunday, then our role as Sunday school teachers could be to follow up with those weekly lesson, like the follow-up questions of the lesson with our group of kids throughout the week.
Yeah, and
So they could still get that community just in a different way.
I think that's a beautiful thing, because they do have those questions at the end of the lesson, that have that. And there's also in the curriculum, there's weekly devotionals. There's a daily devotional, and so there's even that you could use. And it's you can do it within 3 minutes max with a single question, and it's a great opportunity just to really venture into that ministry once again, that ministry virtual room, if you will. So
Would
Go
that
ahead.
be something that we could do now in lieu of meeting virtually on a Sunday? If our students, because as Tom mentioned, our last group, even with text, was just not responsive. So if getting them all together for a Zoom call on a Sunday is just not going to be a thing, just doing like a devotional every day or every other day through chat or something would that count as doing Sunday school? I don't know how we log attendance that way.
Sure,
but
sure. I'll tell you, I feel conflicted on that. And I'm sure you probably understand why. Part of me says, however the heck you can get to those students, do it. Like I said, if it meant going and bike riding with students or whatever, like I'm all about that. It's just and I get it. Students are not going to have the capacity to do an hour online for a Sunday school lesson. Even the best teacher online through a Zoom meeting is going to sound dry, just because of the filter that Zoom uses on voices alone. There's some ways of getting around that, but it costs money. But anyway, it is what it is. And so if that's what it takes, my youth minister heart breaks. However, man, that's what it takes. That's what it takes, man. Do it. Please speak to me if y'all have other opinions on that. But man, if that's what it takes to get them back, let's do it. Go ahead. You have your hand raised still. I don't know if you. Oh, okay. Anyone else? I don't. Because we've done things traditionally always Sunday at, X o'clock, 9 a.m., 10 a.m., whatever it is. We're in a place where, you know what, maybe that's not working right now, especially since it is virtual. If that means you meet on a Thursday night, do it. I know, Alan, you've been meeting at a different time as well, in the evenings, and I know that kind of, you saw some fruit from that, and so that was great. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, just 7 p.m. on Sundays seemed to work. I got the idea from Steve Winter, actually. I tried the morning hours and just too many conflicts the way our services were set up. So Steve had a good idea on trying 7 o'clock, and it took a few weeks, but they adapted to it. So that's what we came up with.
Yeah, that's good.
So Alan, for continuity, so you guys have been meeting 7 p.m. on Sunday?
Yeah, 7 p.m. we have, yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And if you are not meeting on that normal traditional time of Sunday school, please just let us know, so that we can direct students in that direction to where you are and what time and all that good stuff. So if not, y'all have any other questions? If not, we're going to move forward with my beautiful PowerPoint that I hope you're so amazed by.
Hey, Tim, for the church, I'm sorry, I don't know how to raise my hand. Oh,
That's
there it is. So for the church, for the adults, like the moms and dads of these kids, is the church still going to offer Sunday school? And if so, what time is that? And, maybe we offer at the same time, right?
Sure. Trying to keep this right. So, yes, we're still, the idea is to offer Sunday school all at the exact same time at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning. 9 o'clock is going to be our early normal service. 10 o'clock Sunday school, and 11 o'clock is going to be the my brain's not working. Anyway, yes. So that's how it is supposed to work in the future, is to have that Sunday school hour all at the same time. Go ahead, Alan.
Yeah, so the pushback I got on that is if they want to attend in person, they didn't allow enough time for the family to travel to the church either before or after church on 9 o'clock or 11 o'clock. So the 10 o'clock hour just didn't work for some families.
Sure, no, and I get that. And that's why, like, if you choose a different day and time, try to stick with it, try to be consistent with that. I understand that it's going to be trial and error if you do change it at first, but the more consistent you can be, the better we can lead and direct students and parents and try to alleviate the frustrations of things. And so, all right, anyone else? 4, 3, 2. Tom, I know you got to get off here in a few minutes, so try to get through this and then keep moving up. So, room setup. This is the way it's going to kind of look. Well, like I said, chairs are 6 feet apart. We're going to have hand sanitizer at the single entrance. There's going to be temperature checks as they come in at the entrance of the actual building by the parking lot there, the middle parking lot between the two buildings. Masks are required. Social distancing, proper greetings instituted. No handshakes or high fives. I was going to have a funny video for this, but kids' school, Eli's tag group stuff started today, and so it was a heavy load. But anyway, but also disinfectant spray. If you didn't know, there's a spray that our church uses, and talked to Todd about it as well. They use it as well, but it's supposed to last up to 2 to 3 months, even with traffic on it. And so we will keep that going, keeping it sprayed and disinfected and cleaned as best as possible with normal cleaning on top of that. And then also have a sick space, have a room downstairs that if a student shows up and says, hey, listen, stomach's not feeling well, or I'm gonna puke, or hey, I think I have corona, I don't know, whatever they decide to say, we're gonna say, all right, well, we're taking you downstairs and you're gonna stay in this room. We're gonna make sure your parents are made aware and try to take care of that as best and as quickly as possible. And so having a sick space as well. And so those are all, I know I hit that pretty quick, but all pretty simple stuff. The idea was that students and all children will come in through that single entrance with a kind of a table set up to stop them from just intruding in, and make sure we get their temperature. And then the students will go up to that staircase to the left immediately, and then walk up and then walk through the kitchen. And this way we can try to avoid the elevator as best as possible, so that senior adults and other classes that need to use that area can use it, and try to keep it as separated as possible. You got to keep them separated. So, but anyway, so just trying to do our best on that. And I wanted to see if y'all had any questions with that, or any wisdom that you would even bestow upon that. If not, we're gonna move on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, so you mentioned this earlier though, but as far as adults, either sitting in a chair or against the wall, there's no plan to have an adult or two that can roam the middle.
Yes.
Right, help students and
Rome is not the word I would use. However, yes, that is the concept. That's why I'm saying there's going to be a whole different organization for the Sunday morning beast. It's going to change. There's going to be the master teacher. There's going to be online teachers who are going to field questions and answers, and then there's going to be crowd control, whatever that looks like. And so that is the goal for that room. And so it's probably going to be close to about 5 or 6 adults in that area to make that happen. So go ahead, Tom. Oh, he's out. He was waving goodbye. All right. Anyone else? If not, we're gonna keep moving along. And there's probably other things that we will end up doing as other safety precautions as well that I may have just missed. And if you think of something at the end of this meeting or tomorrow or whenever, shoot me a text, shoot me an email. Let me know, say, hey, Tim, this is also something that maybe you should consider or think about. And I'll probably say, oh, it's brilliant. I wish I would have thought of that. But like I said, we're going to do everything we can. And Todd and I talked about this. And I don't, if you have been to church on a Sunday morning, some people are just not wearing masks inside the worship area. It's not, it is what it is. I'm not gonna, it can be frustrating. I'm gonna do everything that I can to make sure that I have these students keeping their masks on and doing everything that we can. What does that look like? Do I send them to the principal's office? Do I kick them out? I'll be honest, I'm still torn on that. How do you handle that? I think that ultimately it does have to come down to something to that degree, though, is saying, listen, I really need you to respect everyone else in this room and doing what we're asking. And so, and maybe you have a different opinion on that, and that's okay. And will I do that ultimately? I don't know. I don't. That's why I say I'm conflicted, because I want students there, and everybody has their opinions on masks and what it does or doesn't do. And You know, if I need to, I'll order hazmat suits for everybody. I've got 3 in my office at the moment, so I'm just kidding. I really do have 3 hazmat suits in my office at the moment, but that's a different story for a different time. Anyway, so this is kind of the goal is to bottleneck it, stop them from coming in, do all the things that we need to do, have them come up, have someone bringing students in, sit down and get it going. It's not going to be the same old happy-go-lucky and meeting and greeting and talking and hanging out. It's just it can't be that way right now. As much as I hate it, at least we get to be in person and be around each other. But it sadly just cannot be that way right now. Sammy would like FBCRR swag. Honestly, I was actually looking at face masks the other day, kind of getting a price on that, what it would cost. And I've got to find the right company. There's a couple of companies I looked at, and some of them I thought were outrageous. And so, but anyway, that is something I really have been thinking about. And so, thanks, Sammy, for that as well. You make me feel like maybe I'm making a right decision with that. But anyway, but yeah, that's kind of where what we plan on moving forward in attempting to do. So, oh, there was another chat. I didn't see it real quick. It's been a while since I've had to lead a chat or a Zoom group, so please be patient with me. I'm usually just sitting in them at this point, which I love. But anyway, moving on. That's kind of the end of that. Like I said, I don't think that I have it all together. I don't think that I know all the answers, and I think that it's very likely to multiple things to change in the next hour, weeks, months. I don't know. However, I want to make sure that we do everything we can to get back when we can and protect our students when they are here. And so, any questions or answers or things that, go ahead, Alan.
No, I was thinking, have you guys, the youth ministers in other churches talk regularly? You got a feel for what they're doing or what their plans are?
For who? I'm so sorry.
Just other youth ministers, other churches?
Yeah, sure. A handful of them have already started meeting back already in Sunday mornings with their groups, and a few have just recently started. There's a handful. I missed. There's a youth minister meeting this past Wednesday that I missed, but I'm sure we would have discussed that. I talked a little bit with Alan Franz this morning as well, but some of them have already started. Some of them are starting. Some of them have pushed it back again as well as we have. And so it's a mixed arena of what student ministries are doing. And then even across the good old United States, a lot of youth ministry friends that I have, it all looks very different for them. Alabama is worlds apart different than California, worlds apart different. And you know what I'm saying? And so, I try to gauge. I really do try to gauge and see what other people are doing. Take that into consideration. I'm a part of a lot of different youth ministry chats and forums and Facebook groups, and try to see what everybody else is doing constantly. Sadly, nobody has the answer.
Feedback on the ones that have opened in the Central Texas area?
From what I've heard at this point, I believe I know there's one that had to shut down in South Austin because someone had it and came, and and by the way, if someone showed up and we find out, the reason why we will be taking roll as well, so we know who's coming into our room and being around all these other students. If somebody tells us, hey, I think I have it, or I do have it, we're going to shut it down for 2 weeks and then pick it back up. But some people have shut down and restarted. Some people have been totally fine. Some people have had zero hiccups and they've been able to move forward. And good for them. I'm glad that they are able to do that. That's great, and I hope that they all stay safe and healthy. So, anyone else? I don't know if that was an answer or if that was just I was not trying to talk around anything. I was just throwing out the facts of where we're at. So, anyone else? If not, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Well, that is the game plan, and like I said, I'll try to get the guidelines for what that will look like come October 18th. and have that for you guys soon. And if you have questions or if you have concerns, please email me. Please call me. I'd like to hear your voices. I really would. Or if you want to go play disc golf or bike riding or whatever, I don't care. Let me know. But that's all I have for tonight, you guys. I look forward to hopefully getting to meet back in person at some point, hopefully October. And if not, that's okay. I can be patient. I will be patient. So.
I would for sure sync that if we could sync back up before we go live.
Oh yes, sir. No, for
Yeah,
sure. I probably should go ahead and put that on the calendar now. I'm not going to say it right now because I don't want to commit to anything without looking at a calendar
Sure,
and
right,
talking to
right.
my wife. But no, for sure. I know that probably that Sunday prior to, if not two before, have one more meeting just to kind of make sure everybody's on the same page. And I'm going to be requesting, if you feel comfortable, for you guys to sign up to be there on Sundays to help out. And if you feel like you would love to be that lead teacher, talk to me as well. I'd love to have you guys. So Todd.
That was what I was fixing to ask you is will you be the master teacher of that group? Or are you, what's your thought on that?
Yeah, so
my thought, I'm just going to throw it out there. My thought is you have the most relationships with the totality of the room. So in my opinion, it's going to be a hard connect, I think, for Todd or Chris or whoever to make the connection with the whole room when you already have that relationship. I don't know. I was just curious about that.
Yeah, I was planning on taking for sure the first month of that, and then moving forward, kind of reassessing, and maybe I wouldn't even go that far. I don't know, but reassessing and seeing where we're at, and I think it would still be good to have you guys in front of them at some point. But just because I think it is important. God's gifted you with teaching, and that is for sure why you're here as well. But I do plan on taking some of the load. If that, I will say this as well. If at some point you would love to record the Sunday school lesson to be posted on a Sunday morning, I do that every Sunday. Man, I would love to be able to help you with that, and that would take some pressure off of me as well throughout the week, especially with school starting back. Even if it's just sitting in front of a Zoom camera and recording it, you teaching, man, go for it. I would love to have that help. And we post it every Sunday. I try to have it ready to go by 9, if not 10 o'clock, depending on the situation. But I try to have that just in case if somebody felt like they don't want to go to Sunday school, but they want to watch a video of what the Sunday school lesson was about. It's there every Sunday. And so anyway, love the help with that as well if you feel comfortable doing that. Any other questions or concerns? And Todd, what I was hearing you say is like, Tim, you're pretty awesome, and I think that you're an amazing human being and teacher, and I just think that you would be the best. No, I'm just kidding. That's not
That's
what
what I meant.
Get out of here with
No,
that.
in all honesty, to me, it's a lot like Apex is right now.
Yes, sir.
For Wednesday night. You're gathering a group of students who bluntly know you best out of the faces on this Zoom call. And so their guards down more, or whatever you want to say, there's a relationship more. And I know, and Suzanne can jump in there and the rest of you can as well. It takes a while to build the rapport with a new group, even in the small setting classroom. And, you know, it's funny every year we go through this, you feel like, wow, we don't know them. And by the time we get through the year, it's like, oh, we hate to see you go, but it takes some time. And that's with a single grade, not with the coming and going of mixed pieces.
Right. I get that completely. I do understand. And that, like, going along with that, like what Sammy said, if that means that you guys still meet with them during the week and have a 3-minute devotional and ask a question and just keep in touch with them, that's the best thing. I want you guys. Here's the thing with Sunday school. You guys are good teachers. I've got to sit in quite a few of your classes and hear your heart as well. I've got to know you over the past going on 2 years now. That's crazy. but man, the thing God has called you to, if you didn't know it, it's to build relationships with these students. And so, whatever that looks like, if it's 3 minutes on, on Zoom with a short lesson and asking a question, do that, because I think that's going to be the most beneficial thing. The relationships that I've been able to continue with our students has really happened from those one-on-one interactions, whether that's through text or bike riding or whatever, playing video games and them watching me die a million times. It is what it is. But that's what's going to really make an impact. But I just want to make sure that we do not neglect building relationships with students, because that's who I am, and that is my vision and my goal for this ministry is not to have the biggest, coolest Sunday school class. It's to have students that 5 years from now are still contacting their Sunday school teachers because they're like, you know what, Todd really impacted my life by coming to my baseball game, or Alan really impacted my life because he showed up in my football game and was willing to come afterwards and put his hand on my shoulder and say, hey, I'm so proud of you, things like that. Those are the things that I'm about. And so whatever I can do to help you guys be most successful in that, please let me know. I really and truly, I want to help that. And I know we're getting away. It's almost 9 o'clock. If you need help with just having some fun stuff on your Zoom meetings, please let me know. I've got a million games you can play with them. There's tons of stuff out there. There's new products being released every stinking day that I'm a part of. I don't know if you know what Download Youth Ministry is. If not, it's a thing that Doug Field started a long time ago. But people are posting 3 to 4 new things on that Facebook group every stinking day. So there's just tons of stuff out there. But if you need help with that, please let me know. That is all I've got. I love you guys. I really do. And I miss you so much. And I know that with COVID, I can't give you hugs, but man, I wish that I could. That's all I've got for you guys. If y'all have any questions or anything you want to talk to me about, you can either say, hey, Tim, can you hang on? I'll talk to you afterwards. Or can I call you, or whatever, shoot me an email, whatever you need to do. I'll be available for you guys for the next 10 minutes. Then I got to put my kids to bed. So they should actually already be in bed, but it's fine. It's Friday. It's online. But anyway, if not, I'm going to pray, and then you guys can hold on, buddy. Then there's one of my kids right there. Then you guys are dismissed. And if you want to hang around, talk, we'll do it. All right, let's pray. God, we really do thank you so much that you use us. And as weird and as awkward as it can be during this pandemic and trying to social distance and do things in a different way or try things differently, Lord, I pray that you would just continue to encourage us. God, help us just to encourage each other. And Lord, I pray that you would just continue to lead us as we take our little steps forward. God, I pray that you would just be glorified with that. Oh, man, we love you, and we are so grateful for all that you have done. I know I am, and Lord, I look forward to what the future holds and what it looks like. I'm ready. So God, just be with us tonight. Help everybody get a good night's rest. And yeah, I love you, God. It's in Jesus' name, amen.